Good evening and welcome to KiniNews. With the economy hit so hard by the pandemic, the government is doing its best to be prudent with spending your hard-earned tax money. This is why they've replaced the old Protons with Toyota Vellfire luxury MPVs for the minister. So, how much has this move saved the government? RM2.80 per vehicle per month, and that has raised some red flags for Syed Saddiq. Former Youth and Sports Minister Syed Saddiq Syed Abdul Rahman finds it suspicious that the government decided to replace its fleet of Proton Perdana sedans with Toyota Vellfire minivans for top government officials. Syed questioned the decision, asking who profited from the move. He said the middle and those who received commissions should also be investigated.
Memang pelik bin ajaib apabila kerajaan kata kereta Vellfire mewah ni jauh lebih murah daripada kereta Proton Perdana. This is mesti ada udang di sebalik batu. Persoalannya, siapa makan duit, siapa orang tengah, siapa yang dapat concession atau tender ni. Kita kena siasat betul-betul.
Syed Saddiq said when he was still in the cabinet, he had objected to a proposal to replace the fleet. He added that the Harapan government at the time wanted to support Proton, the national car maker. Syed Saddiq also questioned how the government could approve of the Vellfire replacement when many Malaysians were suffering because of COVID-19. Putrajaya had quietly started leasing Toyota Vellfire 2.5 vehicles for cabinet ministers since April at a monthly cost of RM5,759.35 per vehicle. Finance Minister Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz claimed that the replacement was necessary because it was cheaper to lease the Vellfires compared to the Proton Perdana. If you are wondering how much is it saving, that's RM2.80 per vehicle per month. The current government said that the previous government signed off on the Vellfires, but according to Lim Guan Eng, Harapan chose to stick with the national car maker.
The Pakatan Harapan government never approved a switch from Proton Perdana to Toyota Vellfire as the official vehicle for ministers, according to former Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng. Apart from cost consideration, Lim said the principle was to support local vehicles. Guan Eng's denial comes after the Finance Ministry said the proposal to replace the Proton Perdana with other vehicles such as the Vellfire was considered by the previous government, but was postponed and only implemented this year. In January 2020, Guan Eng, who was the finance minister at the time, said the government had wanted to stick with Proton Perdana, but the firm supplying vehicles to the government did not have them as production stopped in 2014. As such, the Toyota Vellfire was offered as an alternative. However, Guan Eng announced that the government at the time ultimately decided to continue using the Proton Perdana. In his statement today, he described the government's use of the Toyota Vellfire as luxurious.
Speaking about government spending, Bung Mokhtar says the federal government isn't spending enough for Sabah. This is why he wants the state to be given 10% of the national budget.
Amno lawmaker Bung Mokhtar wants the federal government to locate 10% of its annual budget to Sabah.
Sejak umur saya 10 tahun saya sudah dengar bahawa Sabah negeri termiskin. Saya pun bertanya-tanya, kenapa jadi begini? Apa yang menyebabkan rakyat Sabah, negeri Sabah ini makin hari makin miskin. Jadi budget yang dibentang ini, kalau saya melihat bahawa untuk budget pembangunan, kalau boleh saya meminta tolong rekodkan, bagilah Sabah 10% daripada keseluruhan budget yang dibentangkan.
The Kinabatangan MP said the allocation should also be managed by Sabahans themselves and not the federal government. Bung argued that the landmass of Sabah and Sarawak combined would eclipse that of Peninsular Malaysia. Due to this, the two states and its MPs should be given appropriate allocation to fit their states and constituency sizes and needs.
Yang lalu pun 5 bilion. Tahun ini pun, tahun depan pun 5 bilion. Dan pelaksanaannya amat perlahan. Jadi ini perkara amat membimbangkan rakyat Sabah.
The parliamentary debate for Budget 2022 on policy levels will continue till Thursday before the winding up session by ministries starting November 15th.
Is the Amno Pass honeymoon over? Amno maintains that they've been reaching out, but it appears Pass is already seeing someone else, especially in Malacca.
Amno Deputy President Muhammad Hassan has denied the party is trying to play the role of Big Brother in the Muafakat National Pact. Muhammad said Amno has been fair to Pass and gave the Islamist Party enough time to accept the terms to cooperate in the Malacca state polls. However, he said Pass couldn't accept the terms in time.
Amno tak mungkin janji, bahkan Amno memberi ruang untuk memberikan kerusi, bersedia memberikan kerusi di Melaka ni, di PRN Melaka ni. Tetapi tangan kita yang hulu, kita hulu tangan tapi tak bersambut. Jadi nak buat macam mana? Maka kita kena perlu buat keputusan. Kan? Kerana rakan kita mengatakan bahawa mereka tidak akan menggunakan lambang dia. Ya. Maka kalau itu jelaslah menunjukkan bahawa mereka tak mau bersama.
Ataupun mereka tak bertanding dari segi logonya.
Ya. So kita terpaksa buat keputusan segera.
Ya.
Previously, the UMNO Supreme Council said it would work with PAS in the Malacca polls with one caveat. UMNO and PAS would contest under their respective logos. Meanwhile, at the 67th PAS Muktama over the weekend, questions were unanswered on whether the party was still committed to UMNO. A key question going into the Muktama was whether the delegates favoured an alliance with UMNO through the Muafakat National Pact or Perikatan Nasional, which UMNO has rejected. Past President Abdul Hadi Awang's policy speech saw him adopting strategic ambiguity, wherein he explained how both Muafakat and PN were part of the party's grand plan towards its goal.
Still to come, find out which ministry has the highest number of civil servants who are yet to be vaccinated. We'll be back after a word from our sponsor.
Shellfish, red meat, and beer. If you love indulging in these foods, you may end up with high uric acid level in your blood. These foods consist high level of purine, a substance that will eventually break down into uric acid and be excreted through our urine. It is recommended that the amount of dietary purines should be kept between 600 to 1000 milligrams per day. Having too much uric acid in your blood can cause attacks of gout. It can also cause kidney stones and blockage in the kidney. The crystallization of the excessive uric acid in your blood can be eased by reducing purine-rich food to only 100 to 150 milligrams daily, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, and consuming urinary alkalinizer like Ural. It consists of sodium bicarbonate, citric acid, and sodium citrate that increases the urinary pH and solubility of uric acid to prevent crystallization. Best of all, it's lemon-flavored and sugar-free. Ural, effective urinary alkalinizer. Neutralize your uric acid problem now.
Civil servants who still refuse to get vaccinated will face action, including dismissal. And if you're wondering which ministry has the highest number of unvaccinated civil servants, it's the Education Ministry. Now, isn't that ironic? Education Ministry staff are the biggest group of civil servants who have yet to be vaccinated against COVID-19. This was revealed by Public Service Department or PSD Director General Muhammad Khairul Adib Abdul Rahman. He said his department will seek answers from these unvaccinated civil servants to understand the reasons given. The PSD is currently updating the data of civil servants who have not been vaccinated, and the process is expected to be completed in 2 weeks. Khairul added that the department is matching the data of unvaccinated civil servants using the Human Resource Management Information System HRMIS and the MySejahtera application. Previously, the PSD had issued a circular mandating civil servants, including teachers, to get vaccinated before the 1st of November or face disciplinary action, including possible dismissal. Khairi Jamaluddin has impressed even Syed Saddiq Syed Abdul Rahman on his answer regarding the issue of medical marijuana. It looks like science and data are finally prevailing. In a breakthrough moment, Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin has clarified on the status of medical marijuana in the country. He said products containing cannabis used for medical purposes can be imported and used in Malaysia if the product is in compliance with the requirements of the law. He added that existing acts that regulate cannabis in Malaysia do not prohibit the use of cannabis for medical purposes. Khairi said this in a written parliamentary reply to Muar MP Syed Saddiq Syed Abdul Rahman, who had asked his ministry to clarify Malaysia's position on the use of hemp or quote medical marijuana as one of the alternative medicines that can be offered to patients. The minister added that the sale or retail supply for medical treatment for selected patients must be carried out by a medical practitioner registered under the Medical Act 1971. Meanwhile, it can be also sold to registered pharmacists with a Type A license to certain individuals based on prescriptions issued by registered medical practitioners. Responding to Khairi on Twitter, Syed Saddiq said he was really impressed with the answer given by the minister and his team. Malaysian Nagendran will have another chance to be saved from the gallows as the stay of his execution has been extended.
Death row inmate Nagendran K. Dharmalingam will not be executed tomorrow. This comes after the Singapore Court of Appeal extended a stay of execution granted to the Malaysian after he tested positive for COVID-19. Nagendran's Malaysian lawyer and Surendran said everything has been postponed because he has COVID-19. Yesterday, the Singapore High Court granted a stay of execution in the case of Nagendran after his lawyers argued that it was unconstitutional to hang someone with an intellectual disability. The Singapore High Court dismissed the constitutional challenge but allowed an appeal. This means until the Court of Appeal hears the case and delivers a decision, the stay of execution will be in place. In 2012, Nagendran was sentenced to death for trafficking 42.72 grams of diamorphine into Singapore 2 years prior. Heroin is made from diamorphine.
That's all for Kini News today. For more stories, go to KiniTV.com. Don't forget to follow us on our social media on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook to get the latest news headlines. If you'd like to support the independent media, please do consider a subscription to MalaysiaKini.com. When you're heading out, don't forget that mask, and when you can, please try to stay home. I'm Daniel Anthony. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay safe, Malaysia.
As the ministry responsible for driving our country forward through science, technology and innovation, the recognition of this award to companies, agencies and individuals who bring positive socio-economic impact to society is timely, as it can serve as the motivator for the industry, community and others to always be mindful of innovation, despite the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic. This effort also complements the national development agenda based on the spirit of keluarga Malaysia. Akhir kata, kepada para pemenang, remember this: you have knowledge, and when you practice knowledge, you will get skills. When you practice skill, you will get habits, and when you practice habits, you will get attitudes, and you practice attitude, you will get the right culture.